Welcome everyone to the channel, Dadznight2cook. I'm your always tasty, non-time committing, full menu home cooking dad chef Manny. Letting you all know out there that when it's your night to cook, you don't have to pick up the phone and order takeout because a home cooked meal is only your pantry and your refrigerator away from your kids screaming, "Oh my goodness, it's Dadznight2cook!" Yes, sir. Now listen, if we haven't heard of it, we're not cooking it. This is just simple home cooking meals. So for tonight's menu, we're going to have spaghetti and meat sauce, garlic knots, buttered corn and carrots, and a special dessert that I call Amazelle's Addiction. All right, let's get started with our meat sauce. So I'm going to cook this meat sauce in my crock pot because I have some time. It's in the morning. You can put it in the crock pot, and by the time dinner time comes around, you're good to go. So let's get started. So what I'll need from the refrigerator is my ground beef and my spicy sausage. All the ingredients you can find below, so we've got it all set and just get our meat. All right, so we have our spicy sausage, and I like to use the spicy sausage, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it out of the casing, and I'll show you about that in just a minute. So let's get started with our crock pot. We're gonna put our crock pot on high, okay? We're gonna get that started on high because we need that. So what I did this morning, and you can see the ingredients. I fried up some bacon. So what I'm gonna need is a little bit of that bacon grease or fat. Not only will this help cook the onions on the bottom in the crock pot, but it'll add an incredible amount of flavor. So you really just need about a half a cup of that. And I've already diced my onions, so you just have one large onion that you're gonna put into the pot, like so. All right, let's start on the pork casing, because what we're gonna need is we're gonna need to take it out of its casing, the sausage out of its casing, and just use the beef. So remember I said I put the bacon grease in with the onion. So we're gonna put the next layer is going to be the pork sausage. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna take your knife and run it across the side of your sausage, pinch the casing in one hand, peel it off, and you add the sausage meat into the crock pot. All right, so we've added our pork sausage. Remember, we took them out of our lining, and I've used a spicy pork sausage into my dish. And we have the onions going in there. So now we're just gonna add our 2 pounds of ground beef into our crock pot. And after you add this ground beef, there's not a lot of stirring or any other things going on, because about 2 hours into your meat sauce cooking, you're gonna come and give it a good stir. All righty, so we've added our ground beef. Now we're going to add again, the ingredients below. We're gonna add the garlic and the habanero pepper. If you don't have a habanero pepper, you can omit it. You can use a jalapeno pepper. You can use whatever pepper you use, but I like the habanero pepper because I like my sauce to be savory, spicy, with a little kick. Okay, so we're going to add the garlic and the habanero pepper into that. Again, you don't need to do any kind of stirring. Now at this point, we're going to add our 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Okay, so there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. There you go. This is a real easy recipe, parents. Now, in my mise en place, you know I like to have all my seasons ready. You see what the season is. What I use instead of the basils and stuff, they got this newfangled thing called Italian seasoning. It's all in there. So you just need 3 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. It's got the oregano, it's got the basil, it's got all the Italian seasoning in there. And you got your granulated sugar and your salt. You just pour that thing right up in there. Look, just like that. Now, there's another ingredient that I don't have and I'm not going to use today, but you can. And I've used it before and it makes it so savory. If you have an open bottle of red wine, go ahead and put a cup of red wine in there now. But if you don't, that's okay. You don't have to have it. But if you like to have that little, what is that woodiness to the Italian meat sauce? Your bolognese. You know, meat sauce is just called bolognese meat sauce. you know. So at this point, we're gonna add our diced tomatoes. Remember, we already have our sugars, and every time I add tomatoes to a dish, I always add some sugar to cut down on the acidity, all right? So there we go with that. Now, it calls for tomato sauce. However, if you want to just perk this dish up, like I said, it's easy peasy. In your pantry, you know you got yourself a bottle of pasta sauce. I did. So instead of tomato sauce, I'm gonna use some pasta sauce. It's a pasta dish. Easy peasy, right? Simple. So you're gonna add that in, and I know it sounds saucy, but this is gonna cook low and slow. It's gonna be thick, delicious, and savory. You put that top on your crock pot, you push it back against the corner, and in 4 hours, you got yourself an amazing bolognese meat sauce for your spaghetti. Let's work on those garlic knots. All right, let's get going with our garlic knots, garlic bread, whichever you like. My youngest loves garlic bread with his pasta. So we've already got our seasonings together. Like I said, they got this newfangled thing called Italian seasoning. It's all mixed in there. Your oregano, your basil, whatever you need is already into the Italian seasoning. And we got our salt and we got our peppers. And you can find the ingredients below. They also have these ingenious little things, these little butter squares. So it's all measured out for you. So what we will need is one of these little butter squares or half a stick of butter if you don't have one of these things at your grocery store. Now to this, we're going to add a tablespoon of garlic, minced garlic. So we're gonna put that garlic already up in there. Remember, it's garlic knots. So I don't like the look of that. I don't want mine to be garlicky. So I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons. Now we'll put this into the microwave for about 20 seconds. That's all it'll need to melt it down. Now while we're waiting for our butter to melt, we're going to pop open. What I just got was one of these cans of biscuit doughs from the store. And you can get it from any store. So we're gonna open it up. And I got these little small ones. So you see these little cute little biscuit things right here. So we're gonna lay them all out, and then we're just gonna cut them in half or in quarters, and we're gonna lay them in our pan, brush the garlic butter sauce on them, and we'll be good to go. So you take them all out of their cans, and you're just gonna cut them in little quarters to make little knots. So we've cut our little biscuits that we got out of the little cans into quarters. And so they make these nice little knots. And what we're gonna do, we're just gonna throw our little knots, separate them into our little bowl. And we're going to brush on that garlic sauce, butter with our Italian seasoning. And we're gonna put it in the oven for 350. And we're gonna bake them for 12 to 15 minutes. So we've dusted up our garlic knots, and I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit of Parmesan after they first come out on top of our garlic knots. So next, we're going to work on our buttered corn and carrots. Okay, we're gonna work on our buttered corn and carrots. Real easy, no problem, snap, snap. Dinner gonna be ready in 2 minutes. So I got a pot, and I just got a bag of these matchstick carrots. I'm only going to use half of it. You can save the other half because we're having pasta tonight. If you want a salad, some roughage for the children so they can, do what they need to do. They back at school, so you need to make sure they get their roughage. You can save that and have that for your salad. And get one of those clothespins that I talked about and keep that sealed. So I got half of the bag of the matchstick carrots. I got a whole can of sweet kernel corn. We're gonna put all the juice and corn in, no problemo. And remember one of those little fangled things? So it's half a stick of butter. Put that half a stick of butter in there. Give it a little stir. Put the top on a medium heat. Leave this on for 12 to 15 minutes. Boom, buttered corn and carrots. Okay, we're gonna start on our dessert, Amazelle's Addiction. Now, these are caramel puff corn. Now you can get caramel popcorn in your daily or regular grocery around this time of year because it's used during Halloween and Thanksgiving, but it's in your store. So wherever you go to get your groceries, you can find your puff corn, your buttered puff corn. Now, the ingredients for this is simple: butter, sugar, corn syrup, and some baking soda. But I'm telling you, when you eat these things, you're going to think it's like witchcraft was brewed in this pot. It's amazing and it's addictive. Now, I called it Amazelle addiction. Amazelle is the name of my beautiful daughter. And she loves these little puff corns and they're very addictive. I forewarned you, you can't just have one. You might eat the whole thing. So let's get this started. So got my pot out. So on a medium heat, we're going to add our little thing of butter. Now this recipe calls for a whole cup of butter, y'all. So that's 4 of these little things, because each of these little things is a 1/4 cup. So we're going to add all these little butters to make a whole cup of butter into our pot. I know this is not one of those fat-free desserts. It's free fat dessert. So we're going to add those in. Again, simple, easy ingredients. The result is amazing. So we're going to put that in and we're going to add our sugar, brown sugar, which is 1 cup of brown sugar, compact sugar in there. Put our trash there. Got our spoon. Give it a little mix real quick before we add our 1/2 cup of corn syrup. And then we're going to just let this boil, and then we're going to add the baking soda, and we're going to come back to show you at that point because it froths up, and I want you to not be scared when you see what happens. This is like a science project in motion. So we've got our brown sugar and our butter going, and we're going to add 2/4 cups of corn syrup to our pot. And you know I'm going to scrape my corn syrup in there because we need it all, y'all. And we're going to continue to stir this up until it boils. And then we're going to add our baking soda. And we're going to get ready to make some Amazelle addictions. Okay, so our sugar, corn syrup, and butter has been cooking up. And it's at the point where we're going to turn off the stove. And I'm going to ask my sous chef, my youngest producer and editor, to pour in the baking soda, and you're going to watch this science project happen. So see, it's going to start to foam up like that. Don't be scared. That's what it's supposed to do. It's going to double in size and just foam up. It's a science project. The baking soda is reacting to the fat and the sugar. We're going to get our pan of puff corn. Like I said, it comes in 3 or 5, and you need 8 to make this recipe. If you buy 2 5s, just pour 8 in and enjoy the rest of it. Or you can get 2 3s and pretend like it's 8. But I go ahead and get the 5. So we're going to pour this mixture in, and we're going to give it a stir, and we're going to put it in the oven at 250. And every 15 minutes, we're going to stir this concoction. So we're going to set your timer for 3 15-minute intervals and stir them. So we poured our mixture on to our puffed corn, and we just want to evenly get everything to get mixed in. And this is what we're going to do every 15 minutes once it's in the oven at 250 degrees. So every 15 minutes, we're just going to give it a nice toss and stir. So put it into your 250 oven, set your timer for 15 minutes, and continue to stir. And then after 45 minutes, we're going to have a wonderful addiction, Amazelle's addiction, and I've warned you, yummy for your tummy, but you're going to get addicted. So we've been stirring this for every 15 minutes for 45 minutes. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to move it over to the counter, and make sure your counter is clean, folks, because we don't want nothing sticking on to this yummy caramel goodness. So we're gonna move over to the counter, and we're just gonna put it onto the counter. And it's gonna cool. You wanna separate it a little bit, kind of fan them out to give them some room. And I'm telling you, this caramel goodness is gonna make you wanna holler. You're gonna think it's witchcraft. You're gonna think it's some kind of illegal addiction, child. That's why they call it the Amazelle addiction, named after my beautiful daughter. Now, what you guys don't often see is my kids helping me in the kitchen. One of the things that I do appreciate about doing this channel, Dad, is it shows your kids that dads can cook and have a good time doing it. And once they see you having a good time, they'll want to cook and expect that good time to happen when they cook. My youngest is becoming quite a chef himself, but all of the men in my family in particular were all cooks. My brother is a great cook, and my dad was a wonderful cook. And so, you know, one of the things you can get out of this is that bonding time with your kids and letting them see that it is also fun to cook with Dad. Okay, seriously, y'all, I've been eating these things all afternoon. They're so addictive. A piece fell on the floor, and my dog happened to get it. Now she keeps barking at me like, pretty much she's saying, you better throw me some down. If you don't, I'm gonna bite your ankles. Even the dogs. Y'all been warned. Amazelle addiction. Get yourself some. So we've set the table, said a quick grace, and now it's time for a little quick taste tester. We've already done the testing of the Amazelle addiction, so we're gonna try this corn and buttered carrots. Remember we used the shoestring corn and carrots? All it is butter and some sweet corn and some carrots. Simple dimple. No biggie there. And here's a little knot that we're talking about. Remember we just took the biscuit, can of biscuits, and we cut them in quarters and we put them in a bowl and we dressed them with the butter. And the Italian dressing. Very, very tasty. And our pasta. Now, my household's not a very saucy household, so we don't have all that red sauce going on. But we do have the tomatoes, and we put the ground beef and the spicy sausage. Get your pasta and some sausage and ground beef going. It's gonna be That bolognese is fresh. It's tasty. It's got so much flavor. Isn't this not one of these generic red sauce kind of things? You'll eat that all night long. And use your little garlic knots to soak up that wonderful. Thanks for joining us for Dadznight2cook. Once again, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell, so you know when new videos have been posted. Thanks, guys, for another episode of Dadznight2cook. It is Dad's night. Dad's night to cook. From the pantry, he'll take a look from a book to see what we'll dine on tonight. What you gonna cook, Dad? What we gonna eat? His recipe's great. It is a must. When he cooks, he makes believe and trust, and a wonderful meal on the table. Yummy for a tummy. It is as night to cook.